Hello, everyone. Welcome to Valentine's Day and our presentation today, Using Love Languages at Work. I'm really excited to be here for you today. I dressed up with my best Valentine outfit and hope you guys are having a great day. My name is Kathe Petchel, and I am Senior Client Relations at Hinge Advisors. And in a minute, I'll tell you a little bit more about what I do. This hour is going to be jam-packed, so buckle up. I'm really excited about this content, and I'm trying to make it very much different than the usual 5 languages of appreciation. I'm going to try to weave in lots of other really interesting information. So hope you like it. Always happy to have phone calls and emails from you with feedback and your ideas. I love this picture. How cute is this of our team? This was at our recent Shift event. If you missed it, we missed you. It was in Park City, Utah in December, early December. So much fun. And this is a picture of our entire team at the very end of the conference. It was amazing. We had such a good time, and I think everyone else did too. So here's our team. And I wanted this picture for the slide presentation because it just gives you a great idea of how much we've grown as a team. So our CEO and founder, Kathy Ligon, is bottom right, third from the right. She's got the gray turtleneck on. And the rest of our team offer the following services: valuations, which is something I highly recommend if you're anywhere close to thinking about selling or thinking about growing and just wanting to know what would I do with my growth, and what would that look like from a financial point of view. We do sourcing with buyers. We have a very long, very strong list of buyers. We do lots of transactions, many every year. Can talk to you more about that offline. Mastermind groups is something new we've started with Alita Mechtel managing those. Leadership sprints, Tom Wood. I'm going to talk about Tom in a couple minutes. Our framework financial app that Kathy developed over 35 years or so is really cool. I'll talk about that in a minute also. And then we've added a couple financial experts to our team that specialize in QuickBooks training. So there's actually a class you can take with us, but specifically to early childhood. QuickBooks cleanup. If you're like me, I'm actually an owner, 38 years, 3 locations, and I actually had them do cleanup for me. And that was very valuable. And then Build to Suit, something also new that our gal Laurie Danny is heading up. So we've got a wide range of opportunities. And as you can see, of course, we've doubled our size, but our big picture is always, how can we serve you? How can we make your life, your work life, and the value of your business the best it can possibly be? And a large part about what I do, because I don't have me on here, I am Senior Client Relations, and I do a ton of speaking and presentations. It's really my favorite thing to do ever. I love to do presentations, especially for larger groups, associations, and so on. And I customize every presentation. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Whoops, sorry. Super exciting. We were holding our breath on Friday when we launched our Thrive workshop, which is this coming May 11th and 12th in Chicago. We only have 100 spots and are down to the last 24. I think I'm placing bets with my team that will sell out by the end of the week, especially if quite a few of you forgot to register and do it this week after this webinar. So please join us for this awesome event. It's actually one of my favorite events, and it's because you get some one-on-one time with someone on the team that can really look over your P&L. We ask you to send it ahead of time. We're going to plug in information into our framework, the app I just told you about. It's an amazing platform. And what it does is it's going to help you identify the one area or maybe 2 that you have the best opportunity to grow. So it could be labor. A lot of people, it's labor right now, but it could be your tuition discounting, or that your tuition rates need to bump up much more than maybe you have done. I know most of you are very savvy business owners or directors and are doing all of it, but it's amazing because it sort of compares you to other like-sized schools. So I love it. I think anytime you can get real data and people plug in honest numbers, it is very helpful. I also love it because it's more intimate. 350 people came to our shift event, and it's much more networking oriented and big picture ideas, amazing speakers, and so on. Thrive is our team only, and it's not overwhelming, but it's intimate on purpose because, of course, you're sharing some of your financials, at least with your Thrive advisor, your Thrive guide, and there's opportunities for digging into deeper issues on finances. So I love it and highly recommend that you attend. But don't wait. I texted a ton of people on Friday reminding them, if you need me to text you, let me know. Here's where you can find us this month. We've been making a concerted effort to reach out more on social media and be more of a presence so that you know what we're doing and sort of the depth and breadth of our team. So this month, Kathe Ligon, our CEO and founder, most of you know her and love her. Nan, Laurie, and Taylor, all from our team, are dipping their toes, I think that's fun, into our first Swim School Association event in San Diego, and that's later this month, actually, coming up very shortly. What we love about this, and I personally love about it, is this is a great example of sizzle. I did a presentation at Shift about sizzle. And what we talk about is how can you differentiate yourself? How can you make things a little different and add value for the families and the children that you serve? Sorry about that. My computer is a little kooky sometimes. And I love it too. Swim school, who doesn't want their child to learn to swim? So one of the trends we're seeing right now is people building swim schools next to childcare centers because there's so much cross marketing and cross serving you can do. So I'm really excited. Kind of wish I was going, but the Swim School Association is in amazing hands with those four. And then I will be at South Carolina's ECE annual conference in Columbia, South Carolina, next Saturday. I'm doing 2 presentations. If you are in North Carolina, so I'm driving from Virginia through North Carolina into South Carolina. And one thing I try to do is when I'm in the area or passing through your area as I drive, I would love to stop by your school or have a quick coffee meeting if you're interested in having me look at your school or talk at all about considering selling or even possibly just improving. So I will be, again, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina next Thursday, Friday, conference is Saturday. So please reach out to me. I'd love to chat. This is pretty exciting. These are our friends, Candy and Roberto Ortega. They're on the cover of Childcare Information and Exchange magazine. And also exciting is that our CEO, Kathe, writes an article every year about the annual status report on for-profit childcare. And this is specifically for North America. And it also includes the list of the top 50 largest childcare companies or brands in the United States. So you can grab this article through the link and email me if for some reason you're not grabbing it right now. But excellent article. Lots of you are quoted in it. And what I was struck with when I read it initially was how consistent everyone was. We were all agreeing what the issues are. Biggest one being staffing still, but it was a lot of consistency and of course a lot of optimism as well. So please make sure you check that out. I love this magazine. And in more Hinge news, stay up to date. We're really trying to improve our presence and our outreach and communication with you all. So I'm personally trying to encourage you to like and follow us on social media, particularly Facebook and Instagram. If you would just take a minute today to do that, I would love to have a little bump in people following us. It's really fun. We're, playing around with things. During our shift event, I went live on a couple Facebook Lives which was kind of scary at first, really, really fun though. So again, I would encourage you to do that at your schools as well. Anything you can do to engage your audience and engage particularly potential teachers at this moment, but also, of course, enrollment and community partners. So we're really excited about, just kind of modernizing the way we outreach. I'm going to go into content now, talking about the 5 love languages and give you a little bit of background and context for what I see happening and what I'm hearing is happening. Again, I'm a 3-site owner of preschool and childcare centers in Charlottesville, Virginia. And so my favorite thing to do is work with you all and with Hinge, but I am still an owner and I am still involved in my company. So I feel like I can speak to kind of both points of view. When we had our shift event in December, our guest speaker was Jennifer Moss. She was one of our keynote speakers, and she's the author of The Burnout Epidemic. And what she did during COVID, and she's got some YouTube a YouTube channel and YouTube content, which you might want to view because it's pretty quick listening. And she's a researcher, which I love. Anytime we can dig into data, it is a good day as far as I am concerned. So the book is Post-Pandemic Research. So what did we find coming out of the pandemic, and sort of taking a step back and thinking, we can be a little trite about burnout. I'm just so burned out. I just need a break. I need a vacation. And, the fact of the matter is the whole world has changed completely. And we know in America, our world has changed politically and socially, but worldwide, things are different coming out of COVID. People are prioritizing different things. They're doing a little bit more without. They're worried about the future for their children and grandchildren. And, the world, instead of us fighting against that idea, she's advocating just to accept that the world has changed. And honestly, it's an opportunity for us to do better and make changes. Also, and we do this in early childhood a lot. Oh, self-care, take care of yourself, have a massage and all those kind of things that are great. Take time off, make sure you take that vacation and so on. But she is saying that self-care is important, but it's not the magic solution. And she points to the pandemic saying, people had a lot of time home and a lot of time with loved ones, and certainly not perfect and certainly extremely stressful. But self-care is not just the one kind of once and done. Oh, I'm going to self-care for a week at a spa and all will be well. No, it's a bigger picture than that. And so she's saying owners and directors, leaders in companies should consider what an anti-burnout strategy might be for their company. And one idea would be thinking about preventing burnout versus offering more perks. And so preventing burnout, what would that look like for you? And I'd love to see that in the chat and hear what you think. How would you prevent it? Would you, and some people are doing, for instance, 4 10-hour days. And then, naturally they'd get that 5th day off, but still have their full-time hours. So that would be one example. But then what perks do they actually want? Having perks is great, but if they're not meaningful, it doesn't really matter. So the preventative versus the perks and that conversation, I think, is really interesting. And then prioritizing within your culture. Pretty much all of us have core values. We're sure and certain about our culture as a company, but are we? And do we need to update it and edit it a bit, especially coming out of the pandemic? The same with our families. What's our culture? What do we expect with our families? And does that need to be updated and edited? I love 2 of the words she uses. I think they're really valuable. And Tom Wood from our team talks about curiosity a lot. I'm wondering why X, Y, and Z, rather than, oh, here's how we do it, and being really like a dictator, really just being curious. I'm curious what's happening that you're missing so much work. Let's have a conversation. And then that resilience, the resilience is so important. That has to do with physical resilience, being able to come to work and be healthy and wholesome. And because, of course, we want wholesome environments for preschool, and also resilient emotionally and resilient mentally. I just think when you walk into a preschool, expect the unexpected. I mean, oh my gosh. And really talking about that to our potential candidates. It's chaotic. It's really fun. You will never be finished. Every day there's more to do. And so you've just got to go with it and be creative about it and not stress. Don't let it burn you out. Talk about a little bit of data for just a quick minute. We had Travis Steva for the 4th year in a row. He is amazing from Indeed. He's a wonderful speaker, and he really loves data. And when I talked to him before we did his presentation, I usually try to talk to our speakers, the ones that I'm working with, and he talked about 2 million losses from COVID, plus or minus, and some of those are maybe not quite COVID, but attributed to COVID. And then about 2 million baby boomers retired, which is a staggering number. And we know why. They're aging. They possibly got packages from their companies. And this isn't just obviously preschool. This is, all jobs in America. And they also were wanting to have more flexibility and whatnot. I know in particular, the public school teachers were retiring at, big groups because public schools have really been struggling. So a lot of baby boomers decided to retire. I think that's an opportunity for us. I think it's an opportunity for us to get some really good part-time teachers that maybe are retired teachers. And so that's another webinar. Also, huge increase of working from home. We know many of the companies are now realizing, I want people back at work. We want that culture to be reestablished. We want everyone to be together. And, we know ideas flow when you're with people rather than on a Zoom call. So increasing the work from home really affected hiring trends, however. And there's a significant group of people that only want remote work right now. Big competition for our industry, especially, and this is particular to early childhood, from warehouse. So I can go be an Amazon shelver or an Amazon driver. I can work remotely, which I just talked about, and also public schools. I'm hearing time and again from all across the country, the public schools are rating, especially our pre-K teachers or our degree teachers. They're grabbing them because, remember, so many baby boomers retire from the public schools. So that's also been an issue. And then, of course, the current unemployment rate is hovering right now. I just checked today at 3.4%. That's a national number. And it's been below 4% since December 2021. So, well over a year. Big problem. Opportunity for us to reinvent how we're working with employees and how we're trying to recruit them. And another key point when I was researching for this slide today, this week, is knowing your city's unemployment rate. So I'm telling you nationally, 3.4%. But if you live in Madison, Wisconsin, for instance, and we actually have a client and friend that does, 1.6% unemployment rate. Oh my gosh. I mean, nobody wants to work. They're already employed. So make sure you know your local unemployment number and maybe reach out to those folks locally that you can ask, for some advice, assistance, where could you go to find employees? And again, this isn't particularly talking about trends, but I'm trying to give you background before we get into the languages and sort of the softer part of this presentation. I'm going to just check and see if anyone has any questions so far. Not yet. I love questions though. I love comments later. I don't think I'm the expert. I just know I listen a lot and I talk to people a lot. So please feel free to jump in with ideas. One thing I recommend, and we do at Hinge, is to track your retention rates. Easy peasy to do because we all just got our W-2s. So generally you divide the number of W-2s you have with the number of jobs you have. So if you have 50 jobs and 100 W-2s, you know what your turnover rate is, 50%. So I like to do it year over year as a baseline, but I think it's more important for me to make decisions. And I'm multi-site, so some of you are, by location. So I have 3 locations. Which location had more turnover? And why, and digging into that, and maybe reaching out to those people that left with a couple specific questions, in a very positive way. Hey, I want to really dig into this, and we know we want consistency for children. So by location is really helpful, and then also by actual classroom. I noticed this a couple of years ago in one of my classrooms. One of the teachers is like a little older and a little bit, prickly personality, shall we say, with grown-ups, not with kids. And so I noticed one classroom was having a lot of turnover. So, really dig into why and who is the right person to be with that teacher. Or should that teacher just, teach on her own? So by classroom is really helpful. And that was kind of a big aha for me when I realized I should do that. And then also by age group. To me, it's toddlers, sometimes 2s, but that toddler 2, the parents are, more anxious. I think more than even the babies, because, they're active. That's when the biting happens and, all the diapering and whatnot. So by age group, really needing special, particularly well-trained, highly communicative teachers in particular age groups. So just look at that and see if that resonates with you. I'm on a bunch of Facebook groups, and I thought this would be really kind of fun to share. And it has to do with tracking retention rates and call outs. The particular group, so someone makes a post and then 1 million people start to respond. And this one had, 80 responses in an hour. And I'm just going to read the post and then tell you a couple of the responses because it's just kind of funny. But it tells me, and this is a national Facebook early childhood group, tells me everybody's feeling the same way. So see what you think. The person said, I am so exhausted with nearly every day 3 to 4 staff call out. We're a staff of 18 and only need 16 max. I have overhired, which is something we coach on, to be able to deal with constant call outs, but it's taking a toll on my staff that are always there. I can't believe I'm overstaffed, but almost always understaffed. I'm at a loss and fear I'm going to lose good staff from constant burnout. And again, the reason I want to read this is when I go into the 5 languages, it's relevant. So one person said, I have one person who since December has had COVID 3 times, the flu twice, dizzy, and every other symptom she can imagine. And then, devil faces, emojis. Even with a full staff, most don't care. They're still getting free government assistance, money, and only need a check stub for the next round of benefits. Super interesting. Someone else said, this same person works for me. But it started when her grandfather died, in quotes. The funeral was in North Carolina. We live in Connecticut. She got COVID, and then she had to drive to North Carolina for a Zoom funeral call. Then she got strep, only to not get better, and now she has rheumatic fever. And it goes on. And these kind of posts, we can all top that. And that's just what we're seeing. So again, like Jennifer Moss says, kind of accept that the world has changed. I do think there's some things we can do about it, though. So one thing is stay interviews and sometimes you're afraid to do them because you don't want to give someone an idea that, they could leave. So you have to be a little brave. A couple ways to do stay interviews. I like in person. How's it going? What can I do to help? We so much appreciate you. What do you like about working here? Not necessarily why do you stay, but what do you like? And then course weaving and what could you do better? I would weave in career ladders, how they want to grow. If I've done a dream manager, which I love, then you can weave in, I just had a girl, Sam, and we did dream manager in August at our professional development day. And one of her dreams was to buy a new car. And so about a month ago, she came to me and said, I did it. I achieved my dream. I have a new car. And so that was so satisfying, especially for her, but it made me super proud of her. So stay interviews in person, those kind of moments of relationship building, I think really make a difference, especially in this crazy world right now. Certainly, you can also do a survey. Most people like to do anonymous surveys. I would keep it really simple with something like, if you were me, or you were the owner, or you were the president of the corporation, depending on what size company it is, give me 3 things you would do right away. And then, let them just sort of anecdotally say, it might be raises, but it might be adding things to classrooms, or might be certain benefits you might not have thought about. So I like that, and just anonymous. Honestly, I can usually figure out who says what, but that's really not the point. The point is to honestly get the feedback and receive it well. And then another easy one would be ranking these improvements. We're thinking about doing the following things, maybe have 4 or 5. Outdoor classrooms, different, whatever you're thinking about doing. Maybe it's about staff, maybe it's about the facility, maybe it's about the kiddos or parent communication. Pick 4 or 5 that are kind of your favorites and ask them to rank them 1 to 5. And then, see what kind of overall. I like to do that with parents too. Then you can do a newsletter and say, we've talked to everyone, we've surveyed everyone, and here is the order. And, and then if you're going to follow their advice, certainly talk about that. And if you're choosing to do something slightly different, explain how you're going to solve the problem and implement in what order you're going to implement, and maybe how they can help. I love this slide. This is Tom Wood from our team. He joined our team, only less than about a year ago or so. He does, he's in our success services, heads up the success services team, and he does a leadership and ethics mini course that is phenomenal. He actually did little sample of it every day in Park City. And one of his quotes from that was, "Our definition of leadership at Hinge is serving and loving. And it's not about being soft. Serving and loving often is challenging your team to be better, which might come with an edge." So being better, and we do this every day, but I love that we put this into words, and it really leads into what I want to talk about with servant leadership. But putting the needs of the employees first helps us develop people that help the company perform as high as possible. That would be an actual definition of servant leadership. Putting the needs of employees first helps develop people. So it's people first rather than focusing as much on bottom line. And then once the people are more accomplished, obviously your company is going to grow and have better quality. And I love researching servant leadership, and I do it, a couple times a year. I usually try to weave it into different presentations. And so Fortune magazine just came out with top picks for servant leadership. So I think they did 50 companies that promote servant leadership as a management style. And 5 of the top 10 practice servant leadership. So they had their top 50, and then they're promoting who appreciates servant leadership. And I just thought I'd give you a couple names of companies. Sometimes when I get information like this, if I'm on a webinar or podcast, I like to go research the company and dig into, tell me about Nordstrom, that's one of them, and how they do servant leadership. So, kind of a higher end department store, how do they do it versus, I love this one, Wegmans grocery store. How do they do servant leadership? What can we learn from that? And you might just get one little tidbit that is super helpful. So Nordstrom, Wegmans, Whole Foods, such a nice company. I'm not surprised they do servant leadership. And then Starbucks, again, no surprise. REI, the recreational equipment company with lots of like sporting gear and kayaks and whatnot. And then Zappos, the shoe company. So all of them are in Fortune's top 50, and they promote a servant leadership model. I think when I do servant leadership, and just try to do your best, I just think of it when I talk to my directors about meeting all of your staff where they are, just like we do in the classroom with the kiddos. So we meet them where they are. And, I say, like, what globally, like big picture can we do? I tell teachers when I hire them, I want you to be here a long time. I hope you're with us for a very long time. But regardless, when you leave, I want you to be better and stronger and more capable than when you came in. And that has everything to do with how we're going to develop you, and also how you're going to receive that development. And that seems to resonate, particularly with the Generation Z. Another whole conversation, Gen Z. I love them, but they need our leadership probably more than any other generation. So getting into a little bit more on the appreciation, people feel valued if your appreciation is communicated regularly, not just once a year at a retreat or once a year at a professional development day, but, daily, or regularly. Expressing appreciation in the language, and I'm going to talk about what the 5 languages are in a minute. The language that is most important to the recipient, and also the action should match. So if the language of appreciation is acts of service, for instance, which is one of them, then, the person giving the appreciation should be doing the action. So it could be you as an owner or a manager, it could be a director, it could be a co-teacher. If you share what everyone's languages of appreciation are with the rest of the team, I think that's an amazing way for a culture to be built and be really consistent. Oh, she loves gifts. Get her a Starbucks card, that type of thing. So communicating the actions should be done by the person giving the appreciation. And then individualized and delivered personally. Again, if you're the manager and you're really wanting to do servant leadership and appreciation, doing it personally, whether it's that handwritten note or, I do it in GroupMe. We communicate with our teams. Everybody has their own school GroupMe channel. So we have 3 channels, and then we have a manager channel. And, when you see something awesome on social media or something on a Tadpole Day note and so on, shouting out to that person makes a big difference. Don't forget to shout out to other people occasionally also. So there's not favoritism perceived, but delivering personally. When you start to do it as a leader, then I start to see other people do it for each other. And that's really developing that culture. And then it should be viewed as authentic, not just like, great job, guys. We just had an amazing Grandparents' Day. We do a sweetheart breakfast every year right before Valentine's Day. So ours was last Friday, and everybody did amazing. But not just saying amazing, what was special? Stayed late to make sure the decorations were done. What exactly did they do? And using their names. Thank you so much to the team that decorated our school till 9:30 at night. That's viewed as authentic rather than just a thank you, everyone. Probably many of you have read this or seen this book, The 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. It came from the 5 languages of love, and I think written by the same guys, Gary Chapman and Paul White, initially for the therapy world. And I think it was actually originally for counseling. So like marriage counseling, how husband, wife, or however the partnership is, what do you value and what does the other person value? And how can I flex to what you really want? What do you need and how can I help? Servant leadership, relationship building. What do you need when you walk in the classroom? I know you do that. What do you need? How can I help? We do that, but this specifically goes into the 5 main languages of appreciation for each person. I like to get them to identify it right from the get-go as part of my orientation. So I say, I actually have a sheet. If you want to email me, I can send it to you. Very simple. Welcome to our school. We want to get to know you a little bit. And so you might have each language and then described briefly. Gifts, tangible gifts. What's an act of service? What will resonate with you as we get to know you? What would you appreciate the most from your team and your leaders? And then accompanying that would be favorite things list, which would be, what are your favorite foods? What are your favorite snacks? What's your favorite TV show? What's your favorite cozy clothing, fuzzy socks, sweatshirts? And then you kind of pair those and you're kind of halfway there because you're letting them know you really care. You want to know specifically about them as a person. And I love that. So I would pair both of those. But the 5 languages are gifts, acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time, and text. And I'm going to go through each of those. But first, the key principle: individual values one of those more than all the others. So they can rank them 1 through 5. It was really funny. We asked somebody what their favorite language what was their language of appreciation, or what was their language? And they said English. So we didn't do a very good job explaining those on that day for that person. But what do they value more than all the other languages? And it's most effective when sent in the language most valued by the person, obviously. And appreciation must be in their favorite language, or it will fall short. All kind of common sense. But when you're teaching this to your leadership team, you just want to emphasize your language is not important, theirs is. So we'll go into examples of each one. So gifts is just a physical item, or it could be time off. So what would you appreciate the most? It's got to be what they like. So they might like chocolate, but they hate Hershey's and they want Ghirardelli. Don't give them Hershey's then. They might want time off. That's a more that's different than an actual physical object, but also considered a gift. Hey, if you stay late this week because Miss Susie Q is out, I can give you Friday off at noon paid. Awesome. Friday off at noon is pretty awesome. They love it. So, but maybe they have nothing to do on Friday and they really want to go to their kid's soccer game next Tuesday. Then that's more important. Friday at noon means nothing. Soccer game next Tuesday, that's going to get you, a happy employee. And then a lot of times it's food, so we ask when we say, what are your favorite things? Let them list all the food. What's your favorite candy bar? What's your favorite sweet treat? What's your favorite cozy drink? Do you like sundaes, ice cream sundaes? Do you like banana splits? And so on. Funny story on coffee. So my good friend, Rhonda Myers, shout out to Rhonda, Heartfelt Impressions, and her partner, Amy. So anytime parents bring in Starbucks card and give them to Amy just hands them right over to Rhonda. She doesn't like coffee. She doesn't like Starbucks. And she's a little irritated that people haven't figured that out yet about her. Rhonda, on the other hand, is doing the happy dance because she gets all of the Starbucks cards. And I'm sure it's reciprocal. But when parents ask, what can I get for your teachers? Instead of just saying coffee cards, you could share a short list with the parents, and also for staff when they want to appreciate each other. I like to keep my favorites list. Well, my directors do this on the phone. So you just snap it after they fill it out, take a snapshot of it, keep it on your phone. And then if you're out and about and you see things, some people really like to decorate their room. So you're going to get room decorations. Some people want, all different things. So again, customizing. Second one, acts of service. That's providing assistance, asking, what can I do to help? I love that one, but I've totally screwed up on that before. The room is cluttered. Yes, I would love help with the clutter. Don't rearrange the room. Make sure you ask before you start. I'm going to come in this weekend. I am happy to clean out your closet because, I want to help. I want to be a servant leader. But make sure they know. So they'll tell you, don't touch the Lincoln Logs, don't touch the books. I haven't gone through them yet. So ask before you start. It's kind of common sense. Think about it as your teenager's bedroom. And then you'll be right. You'll get it perfectly. Do it their way, not your way. So if you're going to organize files for them or organize their books, and they want them all orange in a row, and then the red, and then the yellow, that's kind of trending right now. Do it their way. I personally like to do it by genre because I'm a preschool educator. They might want it by color. So do it their way. Make sure you finish the task or tell them, I only got halfway finished. I'm so sorry. Try to finish though. Check your attitude. In other words, don't say, I really think you should do books by genre. I don't like the color organization. No, can't do that because that's not an act of service. And then complete what you start. I love those. Words of affirmation is the third one. This is my number one. I like kudos all day long. It's kind of a problem, but it makes me feel that I've made a difference and helped someone. And a lot of teachers like words of affirmation, lots of directors. Honestly, I think that and acts of service are the number 1 and 2 of these in general. So it's using words to communicate a message of encouragement. So it's either praising for accomplishments or effort, affirming character. I know I can count on you. I knew you'd get the job done. I went to the right person. And then also maybe their personality, the way they communicate. I've got a gal on my team, Casey, who does amazing social media. And her words are just great. I don't ever have to correct her. And so, I know I can count on you. Today is Valentine's Day. And we traditionally give flowers to all of our teachers. And so the directors know, get a picture of each person with the flowers, create a collage, post it on social media. Hopefully people know that we love and appreciate our teachers, and maybe they'll want to come and work for us. Certainly the parents will notice, oh, wow, those teachers are taken care of. But appreciating the person that is promoting that is really important, and showing your personality. And she shows her personality within our culture. Blind spot, I'm really good at this one. I like words of affirmation. So I naturally give words of affirmation. I'm very, and I hope it's sincere, because it's always intended to be sincere, and, like to encourage people. And I think part of that is all of us as teachers. But make sure that you're not giving words of affirmation when they could care less, and you're speaking to your number one rather than their number one. Blind spot. I did this with my gal, Miss Jessie, a couple years ago, and I praised her publicly and said, oh my gosh, amazing. She's a baby teacher. Amazing. And she was mortified. She wanted it one-on-one privately. She did not want me to do it in front of the whole staff. So I learned and, apologized and said, I'm so sorry. Should I have written you a note? What would you rather me do? And she's like, just talk to me quietly. I was like so excited what she did. So handwritten or email. Quality time. This one, when you're offering quality time, make sure you can see that one through, and quality conversation, not being distracted, certainly not having your phone in your hand and looking down at it. That is, that just totally defeats what you're trying to do. In fact, it probably makes things much worse. Eye contact, just slow down, 2 feet on the ground, listen to what they're saying, and, take time. Another way for quality time is shared experiences. Let's go, even like go for a walk together. Let's, hey, you want to try yoga? I love yoga. Let's go to the studio together. Cool. That's great quality time. Group time could be things like retreats or professional development days. Group time could be, let's go to a conference together. For instance, I'm hoping to take my team to the AELL conference, because I'm speaking there in Nashville coming up in a few months. And so they're going to have quality time with me and also see another side of me. So how awesome would that be to just do quality time and let them see a little bit more about who you are? I have to mention quality time we had as a team last year at our strategic planning event. We meet every year in Greenville, which is where the company is based. We did the most amazing event at the BMW driving school. It was so much fun. So Google it or ask me about it. It was amazing, but we had so much fun and we got out of our comfort zone for sure. It was really fun and a little scary. Touch is another one. This one is the 5th one, and this is the one least used in business settings. Touch is dicey. So first one should be ask permission first. You look like you could use a hug. Ask them, then give the hug. High fives, fist bumps, handshakes. People did elbow bumps during COVID. Touch, people need human touch, but in a business setting, that's a little trickier. The other ways I would do touch would be, let's go do an athletic activity together, so it might be soccer or it might be those body balls, that are really funky and fun. So touch. So that's one. I like to ask all my staff and have them go to different parts of a room, say you're doing a retreat, and then grab pictures of each group. Here's the people that like touch. Here's the people that like words of affirmation, and so on. And then you can remember what they like and sort of look at them together as a group. It's kind of interesting. Try it. Challenges and limitations. So your blind spots on 5 languages would be, we tend to speak in our own language, which I talked about. If we mismatch language, the different languages, there's miscommunication and then there's tension. So if people are not receiving my words of affirmation or the way I'm doing an act of service, then, they might be more frustrated. Remember I gave the example about the books and organizing books. A person's lowest language is not important to them. They don't care about it. So don't worry about, I'm going to just do all 5 languages all the time because that'll cover the bases. No, you don't need to do that. Just figure out the one that means the most. And then when encountering someone whose language, their highest is your lowest, make a point to talk about it. Oh my gosh, I see your language is gifts. Mine's words of affirmation. So tell me more about why you like gifts. So maybe my last one is gifts. My last one is, I don't know what it is for sure. Maybe gifts, maybe touch. And so, although I do like hugs, gifts. And so find out why they like gifts, or find out why they like touch. Find out why. And so then you're much more understanding of coming to them, human being to human being. If you want to geek out, read the World Happiness Report. It's released every March. I'm going to say around the 15th. And so what we've learned from the World Happiness Report is that employees right now value inclusion. They value having a best friend at work or someone they can talk to. Mental health is a huge crisis nationally and internationally right now. We know our Generation Z in particular are really scared of shootings. They're scared about global warming and sort of the environment that, sort of where the world is going. And, each generation has different things, but mental health in general. And the third one for Gen Z is suicide. So either thinking about being suicidal or watching a friend be suicidal, or worse yet, commit suicide. So World Happiness Report, there's typically 4 or 5 countries that are always on the top. The United States is, in the 100s on happiness, maybe like 114. The happiest countries typically are more isolated. They have different social structure, and there's not a fear about healthcare and being taken care of in general. Iceland is always very high, top 5, as is Finland, Denmark. The Scandinavian countries are always very high. Smaller countries that value kind of the little things. I did a talk on hygge, which is coziness. And if you're interested in that, email me and I can give you more information about it. 5 generations in the workplace. We're starting to lose our traditionalists, unfortunately, but those are our older staff. They're going to be really appreciative when you consider them a legacy. You consider them, they're your oral historians. They're your historians of all the Mother Goose type finger plays and songs and the traditional art projects. Somewhat crafty, yes, more product than process, yes, but that value of being a longtime teacher. Baby boomers, what we know is they want flexibility. Their kids are having kids, so they want flexibility. We know Gen X, they want career growth. So you're going to appeal to them by career growth. Hey, I see you as, a really strong leader. Let's talk more. Millennials, they got to know why. They're like a 2-year-old. They want to know why. They communicate with them. Here's what we're doing. Here's why. And they also want to know they're part of a bigger picture. Really important to them. Why and how are we making a difference? And then Gen Z, again, I told you some of their fears. So they need nurtured and they need leadership. They missed a lot of education in high school and college because of COVID. So leadership. I'm just going to check the chat box. Oh, yay. There's a few chats. Yay. Okay, good. I'll be right with you all, chatterboxes. I'll be right with you. We only have a couple more slides, and then I'd love to have a conversation. The happy list. So I actually have tons more. But on the happy list, big picture, what are the things you can do to promote staff happiness? So again, remember we wove in the economy right now, the unemployment rate. We wove in the World Happiness Report. We talked about generations. We talked about the 5 languages of appreciation and getting to know your staff and really being authentic. And then we talked about servant leadership. So I did a lot in this hour, didn't I? And I love all of these concepts because I think there's not one right answer. And it's really like you being nuanced and also really reflective with your team and knowing them. So some ideas for big picture. Conferences and retreats are really, really strong. They love to be treated. When we do our retreats and conferences, Kathe Petchel just knocks it out of the park with the food and the way we're taken care of and gifts and so on. And she does that individually for our team as well, not just at our conferences that we invite you all to. Super important. And those moments of just walking to a restaurant, those are really meaningful to your team, and don't discount that. And just just treating your staff really well. I mean, we're always like oogling over more Hinge gear. We just want, I like that sweatshirt. Alec Ligon is the king of all the Hinge gear, and he always has the coolest stuff, and everybody always wants what Alec has. It's great. And then big picture, taking care of your health, sleeping well. There's an epidemic of insomnia in our country right now, probably the whole world, but in our country in particular. I'm one of them. I listen to podcasts in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. It's really not a great idea. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Arriving early to events or to meetings or to webinars or to Zooms, it's really tricky. I started setting alerts for myself because I do a lot and I want to show up well rested and perky and energetic. Work-life balance, I think that's kind of a joke. I think it's really hard to do. There's lots, and I think Jennifer Moss actually agrees with me that the book I discussed in the beginning about the burnout epidemic. I just think it goes, sometimes it's work and sometimes it's life, and it's hard to balance, honestly. I do think boundaries, though. I might like the word boundary better. No calls after 7 p.m. or, no texts after 7 p.m. or really not engaging on the weekends. That drives me crazy as an owner. And as, this weekend we were, our Hinge team was talking to each other about how many people had signed up for Thrive. And here I am on Saturday and Sunday. What's the number now? I'm sure the girls are like, KP, relax. But so having boundaries with your team that are appropriate. Asking for feedback, super important. What could we do better from an event, or what could we do better for orientation and so on? Eye contact and greeting by name. I just did a staff meeting last night with some new staff at one of my schools. And I said, guys, if you're not giving someone eye contact with a smile and greeting them by name, they don't think they're important. Just walking by someone in the hall, hey, good morning. That's not how we build a culture. So, and they all kind of just looked at me like, oh, wow. I don't think some of those manners, I think they've gotten lost with COVID and I'm not sure what. But anyway, actually talking about how important that is, certainly important for tourists, certainly important for parents, but it's also important within our team. Mini breaks throughout the day reduces stress and resets energy. That's a really good idea for a director to, give a mini break. Hey, you need a quick bathroom break. You want to walk to the mailbox and take a breather for a minute? Let me take your class for a minute. Again, if that doesn't resonate with them, they can say no, but giving someone a mini break, especially if it's a crazy day. We've got lots of those. Celebrate accomplishments, birthdays, anniversaries, and milestones. I think we all do that really well. The thing I would remind you is make sure you're doing it for everyone. Don't forget someone. Articulate why work is meaningful. I'm talking to you, millennials. Work is meaningful. We make a difference in the future. I mean, we're it. We are with these children during waking hours more than their parents in many cases. We really make a difference. And then another one, participating in charity events together. I want to go to the chat and maybe slip back to the happy list, but just easy peasy, happy things to do with your team. I would look at this list, but I would not share it with your team and see what they can come up with. What would be the fun things you would really like? I'm going to point out one that's my favorite: organizing space so that when they come to work, it reflects their personality. And also, our teachers are at school in their waking hours, just like the kiddos. So what can we do to make sure the staff have a place to sit that's cozy in the classroom, that they have a place to put their stuff? I think that's really important. A work playlist, if you're doing music, I mean, obviously has to be appropriate for kiddos, but a work playlist or a Friday morning playlist, those kind of really fun, crazy things playing, again, appropriate music, but, just kind of fun oldies, for instance, that's usually pretty appropriate. Engaging with the business to business, the B2B for creative discounts and benefits. I'm digging into that also, but I'm going to jump into the chat really quick and see if there's any quick questions I need to answer. So yes. Oh, Judy. Hey, Judy. Hey, Cynthia. Yes, happy to send you. Oh, the welcome sheet. Awesome. Lisa, I absolutely adore that this is a top of conversation finally. Oh, thank you. The 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace is an excellent rendition of this angle. Oh, thank you so much. Awesome. And okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. Yes, absolutely. So let's talk. We've got 2 minutes. A little bit more on fun. I worked with a New Jersey group. They are obsessed with bingo, and they do a bingo board in their kitchen or in their staff room, and they play bingo, and then they have really fun prizes. And the director reaches out to businesses, the B2B for creative discounts, and does like a soup basket, a spa basket. So, the things that the staff like. So they reach out to local businesses, they promote the local business, cross promote, send pictures of, so-and-so won our bingo game this week. So that's a really fun one. And I was just cracking up my New Jersey girls. They like bingo. An easy one, stay hydrated. One of my friends, Ariane Batazzi out of Carmel Mountain Preschool, has one of those like you see in airports. We're saving all the water bottles. Fill your regular bottle, your permanent bottle with water instead of, buying a plastic bottle. So there's some really cool ones to do with that too. A BFF at work, there's nothing like your BFF texting you, hey, you're not here today, what's up? Encouraging, we missed you. Super important. Flowers for me, I put that in strictly because every Valentine's Day we go to Trader Joe's and get bouquets of flowers for every single teacher and deliver them. So we deliver them today and gave every teacher their bouquet of flowers. And a couple years ago, we started, many years ago, and my daughter said, Mom, you don't realize how many people actually don't get flowers. People that are single or people that, just for whatever reason are not gifted fresh flowers. So we wanted to make sure our teachers always got fresh flowers on Valentine's Day. And so that's just the flowers for me one. And we're almost winding down. I love these though, and I would love to hear from you all. My email is kpetchel@hingeadvisors.com. And this will be replayed and sent to people that missed it. I love to hear from you guys. I'm like a geek on content and ideas. So tell me what I missed. I also have created a list of 50 favorite my personal 50 favorite employee perks. Aside from these last 2 slides, I have other ones that I'd love to share with you. And they kind of go in different categories. So happy to share that with you if you shoot me an email. Happy to come and talk to your group if you would like to invite me. And I just want to say thank you and see if there are any other quick questions. This is our team before it grew. Crazy. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. And I look forward to meeting you. Hopefully, some of you will come to Thrive, or lots of you will. And also follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much. And have a great Valentine's Day. Bye, everybody.